What's good, YouTube? It's Rico here, and I've got a deck profile for Orcust in the new July 2019 format. So this is going to be really similar to the build that I top 16 at the ARG Invitational with, like the same basic idea of spamming the hell out of this card because she's broken, Ib. Apparently, people finally caught on. This card, like, apparently shot to like $20 overnight or something. I did like the idea is the same, but I still had to retool a lot of like card choices and like lines of play just because like losing Rusty Bardish was huge. I still think this deck's incredibly good though. I know like I've seen some people like writing off Orcus as just like bad now, but I feel like people just try to play it as like the all the one card combo stuff, and like I've never thought that version of Orcus was like that great. It just you're playing it as like a mid range deck instead of like a combo deck, where I think this deck just really thrives as a combo deck. So there was a UDS qualifier at my locals tonight. It wasn't really big. It was only like 12 players. I managed to get first place of the whole thing though. It was 4 rounds of Swiss. I went like 2-1-1 during that, and then top 8 I just won out and got first place, which was pretty cool. So yeah, let's just get into the deck. This isn't going to be set in stone. Like, there's still some stuff I'm going to change, but this is how I ran it tonight. I already have some other ideas I want to mess with. Um, so, so yeah. Start off with the basics. Obvious, the Orcus lineup. 3 Harp, 2 Nightmare, 1 Symbol. I don't really feel like I need to explain that, but the new spice I added was 1 Brass Bombard. This card is fucking insane. Like... So his effect is really not that good. Like I've used it like 2 or 3 times max total. But the fact that this card is a level 1 tuner is huge, just because without Rusty Bardish setting like multiple Fog Blades or like Fog Blade Redoer, I feel like the ideal opening boards this deck wants to make should end on Borreload Savage Dragon as much as possible. And this card just lets you make Borreload Savage Dragon off of like basic Orcus combos, which is just crazy. I'm definitely glad I added this card in. Like, I just did a lot of like plays that like in the past wouldn't have gotten me to Savage Dragon, just like gave me Savage Dragon for essentially free. Like, and then like his effect to banish from grave and summon from hand does like occasionally come up, and this card is just wild. I'm so glad I played this, and I'm definitely gonna continue playing it. 1 wand and then 1 chalice to summon off of the Ib. I considered switching to World Chalice Guard Dragon because you'd no longer need to use him as a dark material to make Rusty Bardish, but there were several times tonight where it came up where I would summon Ib, and then Ib would still be on the board when I had started making Orcus plays, so then him being dark just still lined up there where I was still able to summon something off of Ib. And like the World Chalice Guard Iron doesn't really do anything aside from like protect Mermaid, some like assuming they have like Valor and Permanence rather than Ash. So like I just think that's really niche use, and this card just like is a lot more flexible. You can summon it off of Ib in any circumstance. You can summon it from your hand by dumping World Wand. It has a disruption effect on the board, and you can banish it to add either a wand or a succession after it's been sent to the graveyard. I just think this card's too versatile to like not play to play Chalice Guard Dragon instead, in my opinion. So yeah, I'll definitely keep playing the Chalice. So that's all the Orcust or Orcust related cards. For normal summons, 3 Scrap Recycler, 3 Mathematician. These are, in my opinion, the most important and most powerful normal summons that you could possibly have. Just because they get you to Harp Horror, and any hand that gets to Harp can generally make a play of some sort. Short of being like Lancet or whatever. I have like a bit of a love-hate relationship with Mathematician, where like there are hands where he's like insanely good and he just gets you there, and there are other hands where he's like really superfluous or like really like not that great. But I do think like because it's just so important to see the Orcus side of the deck, like I think it's just too important to play. And like I could play like Armageddon Knight or Dark Grepher also. And I think those are like a little better than Mathematician, but they don't really combo with the Mecha Phantom Beast O-Line, which is like honestly one of my favorite cards in this deck. And this was like the cornerstone of the of the deck I played at the ARG Invitational, just like combos that would get Olion and a level 3 on board to make Ib and just go off. And like those plays are still here, and they're still a huge part. It's just that now like there are also plays that will let me get to Borreload Savage without making Ib. But these are still really good just because Ib is so much in one card. Like, she gets you... Like, she herself is a body. When she leaves the shield, she summons another body. She searches a card that will get you to another body. She's just so many things in one card that I think is too insane not to play Ib and, like, to not try and, like, focus on her. And Olion on itself is, like, by itself is still really good. Now that we have Salamander Almirage, this is one card combo, because, like, if you draw this and nothing else, you can summon the Olion, turn it into Almirage, summon a token, and then that's 2 monsters. Just like having that body can be really good. It's like nice discard fodder. I don't know, it's just a lot of things really line up to make Olion really good, so I definitely would continue playing this. One Jet Synchron, just as I've shown in like a combo video before, if you open like Recycler and Harp or like Recycler and Jet, you can end on Borreload Savage this way. But this card also, like, it's really good to dump if your hand's really cloggy, because it lets you dump multiple cards out of your hand, because like you can dump for a Nightmare and then you can dump for Jet Synchron. It's a level 1 tuner, so it gets you to Borreload Savage. It itself is also one card combo with Almirage. I don't know, the card's just really versatile, and like sometimes it's a little awkward to use, but other times it's just like, it's just so good it's there. Like, I opened a hand of like Scrap Recycler, 2 Olions, and like 2 dead cards, and that was just crazy combo, because I would just Recycler, dump the Jet, dump the Olion, to make a token, and then the Olion would summon the second Olion. The Recycler became Almirage, and then I made Ib. Like, you know, it's insane. Also, back on the Olion, drawing 2 of this is insane now because of Almirage. So, and then 6 Dangers, 2 Nessie. They cooperate, 2 Jackalope and 2 Tsuchinoko, since they all got semi-limited. These cards are still really good. I don't think you need to play, you know, like Mothman or Chupacabra or Bigfoot. Like, I've considered playing Chupacabra just because he's level 4, and that could come up with like a lot of the level 1 tuners. I'm still mulling over that idea, but like, I don't know, they're just free bodies, and these guys are level 3, which means they work with Olion, which is really good. This guy works with the level 1 tuners on the off chance that you summon him to make Borreload Savage. It's definitely pretty noticeable to have only 6 of them as opposed to 9, but I really don't think it's that much of an issue. I was messing around with a like experimental build after the Invitational that only played 7 Dangers. It just played 3 Nessie and 2 of these, and like that was also fine. So like, you see them less, but they're still just really good, and I would definitely still play them. And the last 2 monsters I played were actually Terratop and Takatomborg. This was just something I was trying out because the idea is that either of these and Olion will get you to Ib, because, you know, it's special summon Terratop, search this, special this, and then summon Olion, and there's like level 5 there. Drawing Takatomborg and Olion by itself is also full combo, because you can summon the Olion and this win, so you special summon Takatomborg. If you draw this and you already have Harp and you have like Scrap or Math, you can dump an Olion and special summon this. It was like not terrible in theory, but like not super amazing, and like this is 1 card combo also. It was like really not that impactful today. I don't think I actually drew Terratop at all, and then Takatomborg I drew like twice, and like 1 time it was like actually useful. So I don't know, moving forward I might not play these and just play something more impactful, just because like I don't really struggle to make Ib or Borreload Savage. So like the idea with me playing these was that I had 2 less Dangers that were level 3, because we only have 2 Tsuchinoko and 2 Jackalope now, so like these kind of filled that void, but I don't really think that's necessary. There's still plenty of level 3s in this deck that Olion works with. So, I don't know, moving forward I might not play them, just because they're really situational, and there are other cards I think could be more important. So that's all the monsters. I don't even remember how many, it was like 26 or something. 27, I don't remember. For spells, 3 Called by the Grave. I still really just don't like manning this card. I tried it today just because I had space, and I was like, you know, with less Dangers, maybe it won't conflict as much. I just really don't like that unless your opponent has a hand trap in their hand. So they have to be playing hand traps, and they have to draw the hand traps. This card honestly just feels like dead weight game one. And, like, I know that people are like, oh, it's a combo deck, you want your combos to walk, but I feel like if you replace Called by the Grave, I've said this in many videos, if you replace Called by the Grave with any other extender, oftentimes you can just make something anyway, even if they, like, hit you with a hand trap. Like, I really, the only time I really want to see Called by the Grave is, like, games 2 and 3 when I'm expecting, you know, Lancia, no material, or if I'm playing, like, Salamangre, which I know has, like, a million hand traps, like, out the fucking wazoo. Like, I don't know, I just really don't care for this card in the main, and I probably will just move it back to the side, because, like, it didn't really conflict with Dangerous too much today, but there's so many times that it was just, like, I would try to, like, I would have to discard something else because I wanted to have this for my opponent to have a hand trap, and then they wouldn't hand trap me, and then the Call of the Grave would just, like, be there. I'm like, okay, well, if this was anything else, then maybe I could have made a stronger board. I don't know, I just really don't like this card. I think the only reason the OCG like maxes this out in every deck ever is just because Maxi exists. That I truly believe that's the only reason they do that, and we don't have Maxi here, so I don't think we need to do that. I played the Sky Striker engine. I played 3 Engage, Hornet Drones, and Eagle Booster. So this is an engine that I never played in my previous Orcust builds. I always thought it was really good because it's just free 1-card combo, like literally free 1-card combo. It doesn't cost a normal summon. It gives you 2 bodies. It's versatile because you can like grab Eagle Booster if you need to instead. So this is like essentially a searchable Called by the Grave, which is like, I like that more than like having to hard draw Called by the Grave. It's like this could be like I'm running 4 of it, I'm running 1 of it, depending on like what situation I would want in that case, which I think is a lot better. The reason I never played it before is just like space between like room in the extra deck and room in the main deck with how many other engines the deck was playing. I just like didn't really have space to play this. But like with the Trickstar engine basically gutted because like stage 1 terraforming is really not that great no matter how hard I've tried to make it work. And then like no Phantom Knights because we lost Rusty Bardish. Like this just it opened up the amount of space I needed to play this engine, and god, this was so fucking insane all day. It's just you draw Engage or Hornet Drones, that's just free combo right there, and like your opponent like has to respond to Mermaid if they can, and then like if they don't, then cool, you just have like crazy combo, and if they do, you probably still have, you know, like a Harp or like a Scrap Recycler or like a Mathematician, and you just continue from there, and it's so wild, dude. This combo, this was so crazy. I'm so glad I played this. Like, it's funny is that, like, these essentially came in place of, like, the 5 Phantom Knights that, like, got cut because of Rusty Bardish was banned. Like, you know, there's no Fog Blaze, there's no Shade Brigandine, there's no Boots or Cloak. And, like, those cards were really good, but they were also, like, kind of bricky. Mirage made them better, but they were still generally, for the most part, bricks. And just, like, replacing them with these, I feel like while the deck's ceiling is lower, it's just so much more consistent now. And you still do a lot of crazy plays, so yeah. 1 Field Spell, 1 Foolish Burial, 1 Succession because you can search it off of Ib, Upstart Goblin because 39 cards, and the last card I played was Crescendo. I am honestly considering playing 2 of this just because, for one, I actually kind of like drawing it because a lot of my plays would like to end on both Crescendo and the Field Spell, so like drawing one of these is really good. And also just like in situations where you're grinding more, like when you enter a grind game, like without the Phantom Knight stuff, it's a bit harder to grind, and like just like fending off your opponent's stuff, and then like during their end phase if you have a Babel, or like at the end of your own turn, just Galateing out a second Crescendo seems like it would be really good. It definitely came up in one situation today where I would have really liked having a second one of this, and I just think like overall it'll just be good to play too, so I'm going to try that later at some point. But yeah, that's the deck, main deck, 40 cards. Extra deck, Ib, this is like the best card in the game right now. Like, nobody's going to change my mind. This card's broken as all hell. It might be second to Levianeer or Saryuja, but this is like top 3 best cards in the game right now. Borlo Savage, basically my entire game plan is to end on this and either like Crescendo or the Field Spell, depending on like what board setup I have. Basically, like you just want to put at least 2 forms of disruption, and you usually want him because he's an Omni Negate. 2 Dingirsu, I really want ultis. 3 Galatea. I don't know if the third one ever came up today, but I don't think I would ever want to cut it to 2. Long Girsu. This came out a lot just because without Rusty Bardish, a lot of your lines just end up going into him just because he's as generic as you get, Link 3. And then obviously just like his sin is really good. And he was definitely really clutch now without Rusty Bardish. Like I do think he's like absolutely mandatory now. The Nightmares, Cerberus, Phoenix, Mermaid. I almost cut Cerberus just because I still feel like on paper he's not that good, but then God bless, he came up like 3 or 4 times today, so I guess I'm glad I played him. But yeah, Phoenix and Mermaid are like obvious. Salamangreat Almirage. This is a card like you never want to summon, but when you have to summon him, you're damn glad he's there. He turns so many hands that would be not like that would just be bricks to like good hands, because if your opponent like disrupts you down to like an O-Lion, or if they like disrupt you, or like you just don't open anything else, like he just becomes 1-card combo. So that's just really useful. And then Kagari for Hornet Drones, Boral Sword for game, and the other super spice. Shout out to my friend Peter Lozier for giving me this idea. Apparently this was done in like Orcust pre-Dingirsu, which I didn't know anything about the deck before then. Topologic Bomber Dragon. This card's nuts. So like the optimal, like ideal, like best opening board I get will end on Borreload Savage, Dingirsu, Bomber Dragon, and the field spell. And like basically you'll have like Harp Engrave, and then you summon something, Bomber Dragon wipes the board, you protect everything with Dingirsu, and that detaches symbol off of it. You usually make him with Longirsu, so when your opponent does something again, you symbol back to Longirsu and it wipes the board again. And then like if they actually wipe your board again, Longirsu lives because he'll be like linked to Bomber Dragon, so he'll survive. I don't know. It's wild. I didn't do it every game today, but like that was my general end goal, was just have enough like extenders to just get me to that full board. And if you get that, it's like really hard to break. It costs so much resources to break through that. It is kind of weak to Pancratops if you don't have Dingirsu. So that's something to keep in mind, I guess. But no, it's such a wild opening play if it actually resolves. And I did do it like once or twice today. Side deck. 3 Lancia, this card is Cancer. I hate this card so much, and I hate that it's around, but I don't know. Like, I get that it stops broken things from happening, but cards that basically tell your opponent they can't play for a turn in 2019 Yu-Gi-Oh!, where like momentum of a single turn is huge, is just so obnoxious. And especially because like the deck it's supposed to counter can also use it, just makes it even stupider. Like round 1, I played my friend who was playing Zombie Orcust, and game 3 he beat me in time because he Lancia'd me turn 1, and I was so furious I actually pulled out my common Lancias and like tore them up, which is like probably the angriest I've been in a while. But it was kind of just like I've dealt with this card for like half a year now, and I'm just so fucking sick of it. And then payback, I guess, in the finals, game 2, like I got a strong board presence, and then I Lancia'd him, which was like cool, I guess. I don't know. I think this card's absolutely stupid, and I'd like to see it get banned eventually, but I don't think it will be. But yeah, it's dumb. The sad thing is that like I don't even think it's that good against Thunder anymore, just because like without the mini Chaos Dragons, like the Thunder portion of Danger Crescendo Thunder is like just, it's more of a supplement as opposed to an actual focus now. So like I feel like they're gonna focus a lot more on the Crescendias, and this card doesn't do shit to the Crescendia side of the deck. Like if you Lancia them, they still like Crescendia out like Hot Red and like Saryuja or Heavenly Spheres at the absolute least, and they can usually put more on the board. So I don't know, like part of me feels like this might start falling out of favor, and that would make me really happy because I fucking hate getting hit by this card, but I don't know. So yeah. Gamma, this card's still insanely good though. Literally just Solemn Strike on your opponent's turn. It's dumb. Like, I'm so glad that I just started citing Gamma. The card's just insane. Jamming Waves and also 2 Eagle Boosters. Basically the idea was this, is that if I was going first, I could side in 2 more Eagle Boosters just to be like more copies of Called by the Grave. And then Jamming Waves was if I was going second and I knew a deck, if I would play a deck that like had specific back row that I knew I wanted to snipe. So like if I played against Salamangreat, I could snipe Rage or Roar. If in the mirror I could snipe Crescendo, which I actually did. And like the Jamming Waves was really good. I'm really glad I cited this. The Eagle Boosters, I didn't really like them. Main reason being like the same reasons I said I don't really care for Called by the Grave. It's just like if it was anything else, I feel like I didn't be in a good spot. And this card doesn't stop Lancia, which is like the biggest thing. Like it does stop like Impermanence, Gamma, I think it stops Northern Imperial. Yeah. But like again, I can just search them out in that if I'm in a situation where like I have enough things to make a play without Hornet drones, and I can just like search Eagle Booster instead. I can just do that, and I would rather just search this out than hard draw it, to be honest. So I don't know. I probably won't side these anymore, but I will definitely keep siding the jamming waves. This card was really clutch. 3 Twin Twisters for back row. I played against my friend was using True Draco and won game 2 with this. And then Eradicator, this was just like the same idea, just like heavy back row decks. This is like really free to make just because you make Thin Girsu or Long Girsu and just flip this and then wipe everything. Didn't really come out or come up, actually didn't come up at all. And now that like Metaverse has been smacked down and like Terraforming smacked down, I feel like I'm less terrified about mine to the point that I might just replace this with just like generic like Pankratops. But I also need to like these and like these are coming out, and 3 of these will become called by the Grey. So like I don't know what the last slot would be. Like maybe like fucking like 1 Pankratops. I'm not sure. I don't know. Depending on where the format goes with Lancia, I might just cut this down to 2. But I don't know. Lancia is just so fucking ridiculous against this deck, but I feel like it's just losing favor against every other deck. And by every other deck, I mean Danger Thunder. But yeah, that's the entire deck. I'm definitely glad with how it worked out. These were just ideas that I had thrown around with my friend. And I think for the most part, they worked out really well. There's definitely some kinks I want to work out. But yeah, it's definitely really promising. Rising Rampage might change up a lot of stuff just because that 10 Yi level 1 tuner is pretty sick. Apollo Ursa is also ridiculous, so it might shift focus to like making that before doing Orcust plays. I don't know. We'll see where it goes. Anyway, thanks for watching YouTube, and I'll see you next time.